Hello and welcome to week one, where we're going to talk about being proactive with our expectations and routines. So let's go ahead and get started. So expectations and routines are the key to success in your classroom. So expectations are, here's the definition, shared understandings about behavior and attitude in class. So it should be positive, observable, and enforceable. So making sure that they know what these expectations are. If their expectation is as soon as they stand up from their desk, they have to push in their chair, then you have to set those expectations. Routines are predictable procedures that guide daily operations. So the transitions, the work time, the cleanup, what do they do when they're finished with their paper? Do they leave it at their desk? Do you come around and collect it? Do you have a bin to turn it in? All of these things are routines that they are expected to follow. And establishing those within the first few days of school will help you tremendously throughout your whole entire school year. So why are they so important? So it creates a predictable learning environment for these students. So they're able to know, like, going back to when you're turning in a paper, okay? It's not doing the unsure shuffle is what I always called it. Unsure shuffle of where do I turn this in? They knew every single time, at least for my students, I had 3 different classes. So if they were in core 2, they turned it into core 2 drawer. They knew every single time. That way, these routines, but they're not doing the like, oh no, what do I do after every assignment. And that kind of goes with reduces cognitive load. It reduces that stress. It also maximizes instructional time. This is something that principals, assistant principals, all of your educational leadership will harp on tremendously, is about maximizing your instructional time, making sure that every minute counts towards the success of students in their learning. Facilitates deeper learning, and they're just able to know what to do. It gives them that authenticity and autonomy. That was the one before, promotes student autonomy of knowing what is expected. And it builds those skills that they will later use in life in their professional careers. So it's not only teaching them how to just cohabitate in this environment in the classroom, but also learning skills for future. So some key components of strong routines and expectations. First is clarity, making sure everyone knows exactly what to do. What do you do if your pencil breaks? Do you immediately get up and go sharpen it? Do you exchange it? Some of these routines are just based on your personal preference. No one can really tell you exactly this is how you should run with your expectations and procedures, but it's what works best for you. And then consistency. This is something that you have to be very good at, is consistency. I did not allow my students to talk in the hallway at all. We talked a lot in our classroom, but in the hallway, no, absolutely not. And there were times that even going to recess, they were talking in the hallway, we would turn right around and do it again. I always said, if something gets on your nerves at the very beginning, you as a teacher of, oh, they're not following directions, correct it then. Because if not, it's just going to get progressively worse. And after the holiday break in December, in January, you're probably going to have to review these expectations a few times. If not, they're going to kind of start to slip away. Modeling. So modeling and teaching these expectations. So don't assume that the students know where to turn in their paper or how to sharpen their pencil. They need to understand where they need to go, what exactly they need to do. So you should model and teach these. Feedback and reinforcement. This is both positive and negative. If your routine is that you hand in your paper as soon as you're finished with your work, well, make sure that they do that. And then flexibility. If you see that something's not working with your students, then readjust. But don't keep readjusting, because then they'll see that you are not going to be consistent. But if it's over a while that this certain routine is not working, then change it, but be strict with that new change. The next one is how to teach and reinforce these. So teaching these, first model how to do them. Then do kind of role play. Have students practice these. At the very beginning of the year, the first 3 days should be just expectations and procedures. Prompt and scaffold. So ask the students, are they supposed to be doing this? And initiate that cue to ensure that they are following these expectations. Acknowledge and praise correct behavior immediately. If you see someone doing something great, praise them. It's okay. I think oftentimes we focus so much on the learning that we forget about we are molding these students into little humans. So we need to make sure that we are praising them, but also reinforcing and correcting. And then giving that feedback in a positive manner of correcting, or they're doing a great job. So here are some expectations or examples of routines. So the morning, that seriously sets your tone for the day. For me, I did not want my students coming in talking. It just caused too much drama. I taught 5th grade for a very long time. So we came in quietly. They were not to talk. They were to get all of their stuff ready. But other classrooms did have students talk and have a very lively morning. For me, that just did not work. But again, these expectations are based on what you thrive best as a teacher and know what your students do. Okay. Then managing materials. Okay. Here's a list of different ways. How do you sharpen a pencil? Using supply bins. I remember I had cabinets that had a whole bunch of supplies, but my students were not allowed to go in there. I was going to get out the supplies. Participation, raise your hand, don't call out, be respectful, those sort of things. You have to go over all of these. And I can remember being a first-year teacher, I didn't go over all of these expectations and really harp on them as much as I should. And I felt like my classroom management, just because of lack of experience, lacked because I didn't harp on these expectations and routines. And then bathroom. This is a big one. You need to make sure that you have a bathroom and water procedure, just because we'll start having parties in the bathroom kind of thing. So whatever your bathroom procedure is, make sure you stick to that. All right. Establishment. So tips for building mutual respectful relationships with students. So make sure that you're focused on this goal. Okay, this is right from your textbook. Let the students know that you believe in their success. They can do this. And this goes back even to learning. If you establish that relationship, they will thrive. And be the teacher that you are, not the one that's next door or the one that was previously in that classroom, but be the teacher that you want to be, and that is successful for your students. Work on your weaknesses and use discipline sparingly. Oftentimes I did not have discipline problems, and I worked in some rough schools, but that's because of these expectations and procedures. And I made my lessons very engaging, so they didn't want to be out of my classroom. So here's an example of what I did the very first few days of school. So day one was just welcoming, getting to know me as a teacher, but starting those expectations and routines, going over them. How do we turn in stuff? And we would practice with like a word search of beginning of the year. Day two was review the previous day's routines and then practice them, really putting them into play. And then day three, I started with very simple instruction. That way I could put these routines and procedures into practice, and we would harp more on the routines and expectations over the instruction, but we are still learning. And then What about if it doesn't go well? Identify where the breakdown was. Was it during transition? Where was it that students were not following the procedures or expectations? Then reteach them. You will have to do this throughout the year. They get a little bit too comfortable, so you'll have to redo them. Being consistent with responses. So making sure that you're not changing them up or reminding them correction and then reinforcement. And then also have the students reflect on how they're doing. Oftentimes they're able to be like, yeah, we were too loud in the hallway. That's not part of our expectations. And this is challenging for some. The last bullet is to stay calm, consistent, and predictable. Okay, staying calm is one of those things in the moment when your kids are going cuckoo, is what I would call it. It's hard for you to stay calm because you're in this like fluster. I would always take a breath and then move forward and truly be like, okay, where did we break down? Let's discuss this. This is not okay. That sort of thing. And have those honest conversations because they're humans too. And they want to see you not just as a teacher, but also a human as well. And this was always something that I did in the classroom. I did not call them rules or classroom rules because I always feel rules are meant to be broken.